So let's talk about the equipment that is needed to produce something in-house versus out. We're going to, again, we'll talk about the process. I mentioned about the shirt orders, the finished t-shirt. We'll even talk about profit margin. And again, I'll open it up for question and answer for you as well. Hopefully everyone can see on the screen here. So the equipment that's needed is a white toner printer. And a white toner printer is a CMYW, cyan, yellow, magenta, white, instead of our typical CMYK, K standing for black. I see a question right now from Todd. Yes, Todd, we can create the color black. The way we do that is mixing the cyan, the yellow, and the magenta together. I appreciate you, Todd, asking that question. Of course, we're going to need transfer paper. We're going to need parchment paper that protects our transfer before we put it onto the shirt, as well as finally a heat press. Our printer is an 11 by 17 inch sheet, so we need to have a heat press that's larger than that. I recommend the 16 inch by 20 inch. And then of course some sort of graphic software, whether it's Corel, Illustrator, Photoshop. There are so many of them out there that you can work with. And now let's really talk about the cost, if you will, of producing something in-house. Okay? Again, we're going to need that paper. I'm calling it the film and polymer sheet, the toner, as well as the operating costs. And all that comes together at 2 cents per square inch. So I had mentioned I'm going to talk about an 8 by 10 image. So 8 times 10 is 80 cents. Remember, it's 2 cents per square inch. So that image would be $1.60. Again, I came up with that figuring in the cost of the paper, the toner, and running the printer.
And yeah, we've got another question from Laura. What's the difference between, what's an A and a B paper?
Fantastic, Laura. I appreciate you asking me the question. The difference between an A and a B paper is this. The A paper is what we actually print on, the film that goes through the printer. The second sheet, the B sheet, is actually the adhesive sheet. We need to add adhesive onto the back side of what's going to print. Otherwise, it would not stick or adhere to the shirt itself. So that's what an A and a B sheet is. Okay. So let's talk about first if we're outsourcing something. Okay. Because we've already talked about doing an 8 by 10 in-house at being $1.60. Same thing, we send it out. An average cost of sending it to a transfer service is $7.20. Okay. Now there could be possible art charge of $25. Not always the case, but there could be. But most companies have a particular dollar amount minimum, and in this case, like I said, several that I've researched have a $25 minimum.
We've got another question. Is that a screen print transfer or some other kind of transfer?
Great question. That is actually a digital laser transfer. It is not a screen printed transfer. Again, like I mentioned, there is a $25 minimum. So at best, if we sent this out, it would cost you $25 plus shipping. Shipping is usually about $10. Or if we had that art charge, it might actually be $50 plus shipping. Probably not the wisest decision to send just one shirt to be outsourced. Now let's talk about bringing in a shirt in-house. And I chose black. I'm down here in Florida, and it just happens that everyone wears black shirts in Florida. Very, very popular. Colors look very vibrant on it. Again, I can print the color white, which really I have a full range of colors from white to black and everything in between. So cost of a shirt is $1.95. Remember, we talked about the cost of the transfer being 2 cents per square inch. So that's $1.60. If we add those together, $1.95 plus $1.60 is $3.55. Okay. I can easily sell this t-shirt with a finished design on it at $24.50. Let's take out our cost of goods. So my profit would be $20.95. And I see a question on here from Mary who's asking, how long does it take to actually print to hand to someone? Great question. I can, from the time I hit the print button on my computer to the time that I can hand it to my customer, I'm at 3 minutes. Okay, let's talk about, again, the turnaround time is going to be a little bit different. It's going to take longer to get a garment back to us. So let's talk about the cost of a shirt. It's still $1.95 whether we do it in-house or we outsource it. That one 8x10 transfer is going to be $25 because I have that minimum. So it's $26.95 for me to have something outsourced. Now, again, average cost is $24.50. So I'm at a $2.45 loss. Oops, forgot to add my shipping. So I actually just lost $12.45 by outsourcing this.
Wow.
Maybe not the best idea, so I probably would not do a one shirt order. So let's bump it up. Let's talk about something maybe that would make more sense to actually outsource. So again, I'm going to start with my in-house. This time we're doing a black t-shirt, but it's a 10-shirt order. So we're ordering the same design 10 times. So $1.95 times 10 is $19.50. The transfers would be $16. So the cost of my goods are $35.55. Now, you'll notice the finished design is not the same $24.55. Typically, you'll see some price breaks at $10, and that's certainly up to you. I've seen about $18.50 on 10, so that's where I came up with $185. Don't forget to take your cost out, your profit. So we're still hovering right below 150 at 149.45. Okay, so now we're going to outsource it. Probably makes a little bit more sense to outsource on 10. So it's $19.50. We don't have to worry about that minimum. Remember the first slide we showed that it's $7.20 for an 8x10. So 10 of them would be $72. So add those two together. My cost is $91.50. My finished design, remember I'm basing it on $18.50 per shirt. So I've got to do the same thing. 185 minus 91 equals 93.50. Hey, that's not a bad profit margin. Don't forget the shipping, so I'm about $83.50. But is it really only $65.95 more profit if I do it in-house? Remember, we're basing this on that 10-shirt order we just did. Let's mix it up a little bit. Instead of a 10-shirt order, let's price it at 10 separate one-shirt orders. In-house, we're at $20.95 times 10, which equals $209.50 if I did them in-house. Outsourced, I would not outsource them because I would lose $124.50, so I would just have that as a missed opportunity.
So I just want to make sure everybody can see that minus sign.
Does everyone see that minus sign on there? I hope so. It says minus 124.
Minus 12.45.
Minus 12.45, so it's a missed opportunity. We didn't take it. So now let's really go back to compare both scenarios. So if I did it in-house, $358.55 versus outsourcing it, $84. Again, you're much better off, well-rounded in the scenario of actually bringing stuff in-house. You have more than a $275 difference.
And that sounds like a lease payment.
And someone just asked about lease payments. You're right there. It is about a lease financing payment, and that would include, again, would include the heat press, the printer, as well as